Okay, now that we have talked about transportation and housing, food is our next piece of the pie. You can see food is about 15% of your net income. So keep that in mind as you are budgeting for food. Now it depends how many people you have in your household will depend on how much food you need. Do you have kids? Are you married? Are you on your own? So you need to keep that in mind. So there's different food plans you can choose from. There's the Thrifty plan, which is a lot of generic brands, canned fruits and vegetables, not a lot of junk food. So this is the cheapest meal plan. Low cost has generic brands as well, but some fresh fruits and vegetables, more meats. The moderate cost has lots of fruits and vegetables with name brand and generic and a lot of different kinds of meats. And then the liberal is the organic, the name brands, fresh fruit and vegetables, and steak, lobster, all kinds of different meats. So you can look at your profile information again for your family and find out what are your family's nutrition needs if they say that. Otherwise, you have more variety to choose. So we're going to look at our food for adults, and children's food is under the cost of raising children. So I will show you where both of those are. And cost of food at home, or does your family eat out a lot? So those will all factor into that. So if we look in our Excel spreadsheet into our food section, and we'll come back to insurance, we have a food at home spot, a food away from home, and a food for children. So we'll need to fill in all those parts, and it should equal about 15% of our budget. So if I go into our Moodle and into our student notebook information. Remember, you can have saved this and just open this up. I will scroll down underneath our paychecks, housing, and transportation, the sections we've already done. Again, insurance we'll come back to. Here is the cost of food at home. So here's the different plans. This is male, this is female, and then this would be family if you're married. So I am married. I can choose between the Thrifty plan, low cost, moderate, and liberal, and those are my costs per month, approximate costs. So food is definitely a big expense. So mine, I'm the 19 to 50 years, and I have two of us. So I'm going to choose, one of these plans. And actually, I've done mine. I'm a married person, but I've done mine only as a single paycheck. So I'll do this as a single paycheck too. So I will be between 173 and 340. You don't have to have these exact numbers. You can kind of go somewhere in the middle as well. So I'm going to say 250 for food at home. So I'll put that in for my food at home. That populates to be about 11%. And then I can adjust this as well, but I'll scroll down now. Under the cost of raising children, this is where you're going to get the food from. And these are single parent families and how much gross income they make. And then here's the food column. And then the next one will be married families in the food column. And when we get down here, this is going to be our food away from home, and this would be restaurants, school lunches, vending machines, that kind of thing. And you can see how low, medium, and high, how that can go for a family. That can be quite a bit. So I will put in 100 between the low and the medium and see if that fits into my budget. Oops, and I don't have any children, so. All right, so that puts me right at 15%, which is right where I want to be for food. A few more notes about food and things I showed you. The cost of eating out was in the average expenditures tab. The cost of food for children, it's in the cost of raising children section. And make sure it's about 15% of your income, which we have done. So let's jump to insurance next. Insurance is about 7% of your household income, and sometimes insurance has been covered for you, and sometimes it has not. So we have health insurance, which is for doctor visits and things like that. injury and illness, disability if you can't work because of illness, and then life insurance is for your beneficiaries, like your children, if you would pass away. So is health insurance included on your paycheck? You have to look at your paycheck in your papers, and it will say on your paycheck if you have health insurance included, or actually above here. So my benefits say none, so I do not have health insurance, but if yours said something there, you would have it. If I don't have health insurance, I'm going to have to purchase it separately. So I need to find the ages and then find what kind of plan that I would be selecting. So I can do that first. Go back into my sheet here and scroll back up to insurance. Health insurance, as you've probably heard, is a huge cost. I am a single person if I'm doing the single part here without a dependent, so, and this is my age range, so $193 is what I would have to pay per month for my health insurance. If I had it covered, my employer, I could save a lot of money in this section. So if I put $193 in here, that already puts me at 8%, which is higher than the 7% that I want to be. But I can still decide if I want disability or life insurance. Disability insurance, if it's not provided, it'll be your monthly income times 2%, which isn't a huge amount usually, but then that'll pay if I can't work for some reason. And life insurance is definitely something you want to do if you have children, and you can select how much you want covered, and it's actually lower cost as well. So let's look at those costs. Here explains disability insurance. And then here explains life insurance and how much it would cost. And you can see some of them are only $11 a month, which is a very small amount compared to the health insurance costs. So all of these depend on if you smoke or don't smoke. You can see smoking costs are higher. And then how much you want. This is $500,000, $250,000, and the top was $100,000. So I will see if I can afford disability insurance. I do not have children, so I'm not going to worry about life insurance. So in here I'm going to do a formula equals my net income, which is up here. So I can click on that amount. Oops, a little bit higher. And you times 0.02. So $47.36, which isn't a lot, but it's a little bit above my budget range. But I will leave it for right now. And that is the insurance section. Next is cost of raising children, which is a huge, insurance yet still. Make sure your insurance is about 7%. So that's the last slide with that. So then the cost of raising children. Children can be very expensive. If you don't have children, this will save you in this section. But if you do, you have to look at the table for single or two-parent families that we looked at before, and then add in clothing, healthcare, childcare, education, and miscellaneous. We've already added in food, so you do not have to include food in that part of the budget. So if we go here and scroll down to the cost of raising children, right here, so single, this is single. Here's the total. You could take the total and just subtract food from that, or you could add up the costs besides food. So that's your single family, and then this is your two-parent family. To estimate expenses for an only child, you multiply the expenses by 1.24. For two children, you'll just add them together, and then three or more, you would actually multiply by 0.77, because you'll save a little bit money the more children you have, because you've already buying the food and that sort of thing, but some things that you have to pay for also, like, all together, and so those will be higher costs. So you will put your raising a children into your Excel spreadsheet. If you don't have any children, you can put a 0 in, or just leave it, and then that will be 0%.